What's up, everybody? This is your boy Andrew here, and today we're going to continue where we left off in our previous preview card video. So now we're going to look at the new cards that have been placed on the site. So let's go down and see what we got. Okay, so looks like there's a lot more cards than last time. Okay. Looks like a lot. So let's go back to the beginning and we'll start with the first card, the Forestcraft class. Okay, first off we have Amataz, Fairy Blader, which is a 3-costing legendary follower. It has no trait. So, unevolved, fanfare. If you have at least 2 fairies in your hand, gain +1/+1 and ward. Then, if you have at least 4 fairies in your hand, gain +1/+1 more and bang. Sorry. Okay, so also it reads. Then, if you have at least 6 fairies in your hand, give +1/+1 and storm to all fairies in your hand. So there's nothing for the evolved, so yeah. Well, basically, just from hearing this, it's actually a pretty good card. So it gets ward, bane, and storm. So that's pretty good. It kind of reminds me of Zeus, the Zeus card, the neutral card. It's actually pretty good. Only thing, it relies on fairies. Okay, so that would mean if you're able to get all 6 fairies, if you have 6 fairies in your hand and you manage to do that, so you're looking at least. Okay, so the attack and defense is 2/3, so you're looking at a. Okay, so you're looking at a 5/6, and then also when it becomes evolved, there'll be at least a 7/8. So that's actually pretty good. Okay, moving on. To look at the other cards. So we've already covered Latica in the previous video, so we're going to skip that. Okay, so we have another new card here. So Irene, Harvest Defender, which is a 3-costing Forestcraft follower. Its rarity is gold and unevolved. If at least 4 other cards were played this turn, evolve this follower. Evolved, gains ward, can attack 2 times per turn. It also gets strike until the end of turn, reduce damage to this follower to 0. Okay, so it sounds like a pretty good card to have. Actually pretty good. So, but you'll have to try at least, which probably won't be hard. You have to play at least 4 other cards before you play this to evolve it. But all in all, it's pretty good. Okay, next. Okay, so we have a Avatar of Fruition, which is a 2-costing Forestcraft follower. Its rarity is gold, and it also has the trait Natura. So unevolved, fanfare, put a fairy into your hand. If an allied Naterran Great Tree is in play, put 2 fairies into your hand and instead gain rush. Okay, so first off, in the previous video I didn't look at what a Naterran Great Tree is, so let's take a quick look at that. Okay, so we have a Naterran Great Tree, which is a 1-costing neutral, I believe, amulet. Okay, so it's a 1 costing amulet, which is a bronze. Rarity is bronze, and it has the trait Natura. Okay, fanfare. If any other allied Naterran Great Trees are in play, randomly destroy 1. Last words, draw a card. It's actually pretty good. Okay, so back to the card. Okay, so it sounds pretty good to me. Alright, so moving on. Alright, up next we have a Elven Pikeman, which is a 4 costing Forest Craft follower. Its rarity is silver. It has no trait. So unevolved, it has Storm. Last words, deal 2 damage to the enemy leader. Okay, pretty straightforward. Might have something to say about the cost. It doesn't look like a 4, especially with its ability. I think it should have been a 3. But anyway, next up. Okay, so we have Blossom Spirit, which is a 2 costing Forest Craft follower. Its rarity is silver, and it also has the trait Natura. So unevolved, at the end of your turn, if an allied Naterran Great Tree is in play, summon a fairy. Whenever an allied fairy comes into play, it gains +1/+1. Okay, so we've got another Leroy, I think, card. Uses the same ability, if I'm pronouncing the card's name right. The guy that he's a 3 costing for Forest Craft follower as well. You play him, and when you play any fairies after that, you deal 1 damage for every fairy you play to the enemy leader, and he gets +1 as a result. So not bad. So the only difference is that he deals damage, while this Blossom Spirit only gains the 1/1 effect. Okay. Alright, moving on. Alright, we already covered the Fertile Ether. We already covered Woolly Puck. Okay, so now we have a Elven Sentry, which is a 6 costing Forest Craft follower. Its rarity is bronze, and it has no trait. So unevolved, it has Rush and Fanfare. Gain +1/+1 for each fairy in your hand. So pretty straightforward. Alright, next. Okay, so we have a Ghastly Treant, which is a 2 costing Forest Craft follower. Its rarity is bronze, and it also has the trait Natura. Unevolved, Fanfare, put a Naterran Great Tree into your hand. Then, if at least 2 other cards were played this turn, put a fairy into your hand. Okay, so I like that effect. It looks to me that there's going to be a heavy focus on using a lot of fairies, a lot of cards that summon fairies, basically fairy decks. It's actually pretty good. I think this will change the meta a little, because a lot of time, for the past 2-3 months, there's been it's really been unbalanced in my opinion, but I'll probably talk about that at the end of the video, so let's continue. Alright, next. Okay, so we have a redesign of the Airborne Barrage. It is actually a 1 costing Forest Craft spell, for all of you who don't know what it is. So basically, you return an ally follower or amulet to your hand, then deal 3 damage to the enemy follower. So, and you can't use this unless there is a creature, you have an ally creature to target. So, moving on. Okay, so now we're going to cover the Dragoncraft class. So we're starting off with Apex Elemental, which is a 5 costing follower. It also is a legendary and it has the trait Natura. So unevolved, Accelerate 1. Return an allied amulet to your hand and deal 2 damage to an enemy follower. If the return card is in Naterran Great Tree, deal 3 damage instead. This card can only be played when both a targetable allied card and an enemy card is in play. Okay, so Ward, Fanfare, if any allied amulets are in play, return 1 to your hand and deal 2 damage to all enemy followers. If the return card is a Naterran Great Tree, deal 3 damage instead. So that's actually pretty good, like its effect. I gotta say, I like the design of the Apex Elemental. It's very good. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so we have a Wish Wielder, which is a 3 costing Dragoncraft follower. Its rarity is legendary. It has no trait. So unevolved, Fanfare. If this card has been spell boosted 5 times or less, randomly put one of the following cards into your hand. If this card has been spell boosted 6 to 11 times, randomly put 2 of the following cards into your hand. And it's the same thing, so if you spell boosted to 12, randomly put 3 of the following cards in your hand. And so the cards are the Cassiopeia, Jiraiya, Adramelech, Demon Lord Ektar, Spawn of the Abyss, Dark Jean, or Sylvia the Condemner. So I'm not going to I might as well. So as you can see, we have the Cassiopeia, and you have Adramelech, you have Spawn of the Abyss, Sylvia the Condemner, Jiraiya, Demon Lord Ektar, and last but not least, you have Dark Jean or Dark Jean. Okay, so basically, when you spell boost this card enough times, you'll be able to randomly, well, you won't be able to choose, and you will randomly get 3 of those mentioned cards. It's pretty good. I could probably see this as a late game card. So let's move on. Okay, I think we covered Riley, but for those who don't know. Okay, so Riley Hydro Shaman, which is a 9 costing Dragoncraft follower. Its rarity is gold and it has the trait Natura. So unevolved, it has Storm and Invocation. At the start of your turn, if X is at least 7, put this card from your deck into play. When this follower comes into play, gain plus X plus 0. X equals the number of allied Naterran Great Trees you played this match. Okay. So depending on the number of Naterran Great Trees you played, that will equal Rally Hydro Shaman's attack. Moving on. Okay, so we have a Chaos Wielder, which is a 5 costing Runecraft follower. Its rarity is gold and it has no trait. So unvolved, fanfare, draw 2 cards, subtract 0 from the cost of this card. And when you spell boost, meaning when you play a spell card, you subtract 1 more. Alright, moving on. Okay, so we have a Pyromancer, which is a 3 costing Runecraft follower. Its rarity is silver and it has the trait Natura. So unevolved, fanfare. If any allied amulets are in play, return 1 to your hand and deal 1 damage to all followers. If the returned card is a Naterran Great Tree, deal 2 damage instead. Okay, sounds pretty good. Alright, next. We have a Silent Laboratory, which is a 2 costing Runecraft. I think it's an amulet, just to correct myself. Okay, so it's a 2 costing amulet, and its rarity is silver, and it has the trait Earth Sigil. So fanfare, randomly summon one of the following: Clay Golem or Zombie. So as you can see, you can either summon the Clay Golem, or you can summon the Zombie. Okay, moving on. Okay, so we have a Arcane Ether, which is a 1 costing Runecraft spell. Its rarity is silver, and it has the trait Natura. Put a Naterran Great Tree into your hand. If this is your 5th turn or later, recover 1 play point. If this is your 10th turn or later, deal 2 damage to a random enemy follower and 2 damage to the enemy leader. Okay, next. Okay, so I think we already covered this card in the previous video, but for those who don't know, so it's a Geo-Elementalist. Geo-Elementis, sorry. Okay, so it's a 2 costing Runecraft follower. Its rarity is bronze, and its trait is Natura. So unevolved, put a Naterran Great Tree into your hand. If you have 20 cards or less in your deck, gain +2/+2. Alright, so next we have a Passionate Potioneer, which is a 3 costing Runecraft follower. Its rarity is bronze and it has no trait. Unevolved, fanfare. Select an allied amulet and put a copy of that amulet into your hand. Subtract 1 from its cost. Moving on. Okay, so we have a Giga Hand Golem, which is a 2 costing Runecraft follower. Its rarity is bronze and it has no trait. Unevolved, fanfare, Earthright. Gain rush and summon a Scrap Golem. Fanfare, enhance 7. Gain +4/+4. So for those who do not know what a Scrap Golem is, it's a 1 costing Runecraft creature, and it has ward. Okay. So moving on. Okay, so we have a Mysterian Wisdom, which is a 2-costing Dragoncraft spell. Its rarity is Bronze, and its trait is Mysteria. Banish a card from your hand and put a copy of that card into your deck. Put a Mysterian Missile or Mysterian Circle into your hand. So a Mysterian Missile, a 2-costing Dragoncraft spell that deals 3 damage to an enemy follower and 1 damage to the enemy leader. And a Mysterian Circle, a 2-costing spell that allows you to summon a clay golem and give ward to all other clay golems that are in play. Alright. We're going to move on to the Dragoncraft class. And first off, we will start with Neptune Tide Mistress, which is a costing Dragoncraft follower, which is also a legendary, and it has no trait. So unevolved, accelerate 3. Summon a Megalorca, give it Storm. It has ward, fanfare, summon 2 Megalorcas. Whenever an allied Megalorca comes into play, give it Storm. So, and it's also the same as the evolved. Alright, so a Megalorca, which is a 2-costing creature. Alright, next. Okay, so we already covered Voldane in the previous video. Okay, so we have a Hoarfrost Triceratops. Sorry. Okay, so a Hoarfrost Triceratops, which is a 6-costing Dragoncraft follower. Its rarity is gold, and it has the trait Natura. So unevolved, fanfare. If an allied Naterran Great Trees, if any allied Naterran Great Trees are in play, randomly destroy 1 and destroy an enemy follower. Last words. If there are no allied Naterran Great Trees in play, summon a Naterran Great Tree. Okay, that actually sounds pretty good. So when you have any Naterran Great Trees in play, for each one that you destroy, you are able to destroy an enemy follower. Okay. Alright, so moving on. So we have a Phoenix Howl, which is a 5-costing Dragoncraft spell. Its rarity is gold and it has no trait. So this allows you to summon a Star Phoenix and deal 2 damage to all enemy followers. And the Star Phoenix is a card from previous block, which is a 3-costing creature, and it has Rush. So last words, give your leader the following effect. The next time you play a spell, put a Star Phoenix into your hand. Alright. Moving on. Okay, so we have a Bubble-born Mermaid, which is a 2-costing Dragoncraft follower. Its rarity is silver and it has no trait. So unevolved, fanfare. Randomly put either a Gazelle Mermaid Healer or a Gadget Mermaid into your hand. It's pretty good. So for those who don't know, you have Gazelle, the Mermaid Healer, which allows you to restore 2 defense to all other allied followers at the start of your opponent's turn. And we have the Gadget Mermaid, which is a 2-costing Dragoncraft follower. And when you have a allied Machina follower in play, it gains Storm. Alright, moving on. Okay, so we have a Whirlwind Pterodon, which is a 3-costing Dragoncraft follower. Its rarity is Silver, and it has the trait Natura. Unevolved, Fanfare. If any allied Naterran Great Trees are in play, randomly destroy 1 and gain an empty play point orb. Last words, if there are no allied Naterran Great Trees in play, summon a Naterran Great Tree. Okay, it's pretty straightforward. I like how they're using dinosaurs now in the card game. It's actually a pretty good step in the right direction. Okay, so next we have a Feral Ether, which is a 1-costing Dragoncraft spell. Its rarity is Silver, and it has the trait Natura. Play Naterran Great Tree into your hand. If this is your 5th turn or later, recover 1 play point. If this is your 10th turn or later, put a Windblast Dragon into your hand. For those who don't know what a Windblast Dragon is, it's a 6-costing Dragoncraft follower, and it has Storm. Moving on. Okay, so we have a Dragon Later, which is a 8-costing Dragoncraft follower. It's bronze. So unevolved, Crystallize 5, countdown 3. Fanfare and last words. Summon a dragon. Fanfare, summon a dragon. So you crystallize it for 5 and countdown. Play a countdown amulet for 3, which allows you to summon a dragon, which is a 5-costing follower. I think this is the first crystallized card I've seen so far. Okay, so I actually like it. It costs 3 less when you use Crystallize. Okay, next. I believe we already covered the Dragon Chef in the previous video, so moving on. Okay, so we have a Lightning Velociraptor, which is a 2-costing Dragoncraft follower. Its rarity is bronze, and it has the trait Natura. Unevolved, Fanfare. Put a Naterran Great Tree into your hand. If Overflow is active for you, put 2 into your hand instead. Okay. I gotta say, I like the design for these dinosaur cards. It looks pretty great. Okay, so moving on. Okay, so we have a Dragon Newt Needler, which is a 5-costing Dragoncraft follower. It's bronze, and it has no trait. So unevolved, Fanfare. select an enemy follower and deal 3 damage if it is already damaged. If it has not been damaged, deal 1 damage instead. Alright, next,